Basic Christianity. Okay, it's not a Bible breakthrough, it's just Christian courtesy. I've always said one day, if I actually write a book, I'm going to devote an entire chapter to hospitality. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because there's so many of us, and we travel, and we stay in other people's homes, and I want to deal with this issue of actually staying in somebody else's house. Do you know what it's like? Because I open up our home to people all the time. My house is one massive revolving door. One guy leaves, another guy comes over, another guy comes over, another guy comes over. And so that's my home. We open it up to people. It's a revolving door. And we also stay in other people's homes. And I want to go through a few things. And as I said, it's not a Bible breakthrough. It's just practical stuff. The Bible teaches in Matthew chapter 10, when Jesus is giving a rundown to his disciples, he said that you eat what's before you. Whatever somebody gives you, that's what you eat. Do you know how many times we've had Christian people over at our house and we fed them something and, brother, I don't eat that. Brother, we don't eat meat. Brother, we don't eat that particular thing. Brother, we don't have that coffee. That coffee's too strong. That coffee's too weak. We don't drink coffee. We only have tea. The Bible says you give what's before you. As a matter of fact, the Bible talks about when you go into these cities, you find somebody who's worthy. That's what the blueprint says. I didn't write it out. The blueprint says when I travel into a city, find somebody who is worthy. Doesn't say he has to be like-minded with your theology. Doesn't even say you have to be the same color, the same politics. You don't have to be cousins or neighbors. Find somebody who's worthy. And over the years, I've worked with young men. For some reason, God has always surrounded me with a bunch of young men, and I've got to train them. Much of what you see today is because I've worked with these young men. Brother, I can't stay in this house because the woman is wearing pants. And so we need to find another place to stay. And we got to deal with that. Brother, her skirt is not long enough. We need to walk away from this. Brother Ruben, we can't stay in this house. Well, there's a barking dog. I didn't sleep properly last night. We're staying by a train track, and that train comes in at 3 o'clock in the morning. I think it's time for us to leave. Brother Ruben, we can't stay here. They have a cat that's shedding, and I've got cat fur on my clothes. Young man, you're going to be persecuted, you're going to go to jail, and you're going to tell me that you are willing to die, and you are talking to me about cat fur? Have you lost your mind? You guys wonder why I'm so hard on some of these young guys. This is what I have to work with. Brother Ruben, I don't care too much to eat this. Brother Ruben, it's awfully cold in here. I enjoy traveling with men. There isn't nothing like it. I can have 12 guys sleeping together, and I enjoy that fellowship because there's not a lot of men out there that can put up with this. It's very difficult. Oftentimes when people think of the 12 disciples, they think of this. Like all those paintings, and all they do is walk around with the halo and follow Jesus like this. Let me tell you something. You live in a fantasy if you want to travel around with men and think that's the way it is. Right. It's not that way. As a matter of fact, our blueprint tells us when Jesus was walking, he heard a commotion with those men. Well, what's going on back there? The issue with the 12 men, who was the greatest among them? Right. Gentlemen, if you think you're going to travel around with street preachers and you're all going to get along, you are in for a wake-up call. You are in for one big wake-up call. I love a dead carcass. I love to eat meat and potato. But if I'm staying with somebody and they give me rabbit food, that's what I eat. I don't complain, I don't gripe, and I'm very thankful for it. If I get a corner on the floor, that's where I sleep. Over the years, I've stayed in homes that are $1 million homes, and I've slept in cars. There's times I showed up in the city, and when I called the pastor that he worked with, he says, "Ruben, I can't have you inside of my church anymore. You're way too controversial. We can't have that." So what did we do? We went to the nearest park, rolled out our banners, and that was our mattress as we laid on the cold grass. I don't come to town to be eaten, to eat food and drink food and to watch TV and sing hymns. I came to town for a particular reason. And when you work with these guys, you do have to understand you better put up with this. There's going to be snoring and snorkeling when people are sleeping. You're not going to put up with this. A dog may wake you up licking your eye. Hey, this isn't your home. You're a guest. You put up with it. I get to go home and sleep on a nice comfortable mattress when I get home. Until then, I put up with it. It doesn't matter where I lay my head, even if I don't even sleep. I'm there for a particular reason, and I'm going to take care of what I need to take care of. But it's amazing how many of these young men have such great offense. Brother, they've got a TV inside their house. I can't stand that. We got to find another place. This is not very biblical, it's just practical. Like I said, this is not a Bible breakthrough. Because we're growing so much, we better understand you are a guest in that house. You don't break down walls and repaint it the way you think. You're a guest in that house. It's difficult, like I said, when I travel, you've got 15 men and one bathroom. There's going to be some problems. And usually, again, I kind of like order. So we have a little meeting and I give everybody a number. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Everybody knows their number. Number 1s take a shower in the daytime. Number 2s take a shower at nighttime. That's how we handle it. And gentlemen, don't be in the bathroom an hour putting on your makeup. Quick shower and get out of there. Speaking of which, when you travel with guys, there was a guy who said, "Brother, I don't take a shower. In fact, it's fleshly and worldly. And anybody who takes a shower is nothing more than fleshly and worldly. I don't even use deodorant." Well, unfortunately, we found this out as we're driving in a 15-passenger van, and he kicks off his shoes. Oh, yeah, you think you got arguments with theology. Let me tell you, the noise that went on back there. Well, when he finally put the shoes back on, it appeared that the odor was somehow involved in the van. Even with the windows rolled down, it wasn't going anywhere. I don't know whether it got stuck in the nose from our hair and we're breathing this stuff. Well, this guy, we found out, "I can't take showers, brother. It's fleshly and worldly." Well, unfortunately, this is not an option. Either you get in the shower, or we're going to strap you down, duct tape you, and hose you down outside. But that's the way we run. And so the guy did finally concede. And so I had to summons one of the brother that when he was in the shower, he went into the room and made sure he was taking a shower. And when he was done, then he came out and the guy dried himself. This is what happens when you work with other men. If you think it's this, buddy, you're on the wrong field. You have to get used to that. This is what happens when you work with a cluster of men. Unfortunately, you better have the long suffering to do so. There's one particular guy that he was a young man. I don't know what happened. It's almost as though he has this anti-hinge gene. You know, there's this great concept. It's this hinge. Opens and door and closes doors. Well, this young man decided that he'd open things and just leave them open. There was a whole trail of every room he went into, doors and closets and cabinets, shower doors, gates, front door. Everything was open and never closed. It was as though he was an anti-hinge guy. Well, he decided to try to find something in the kitchen of the place that we were staying, and he's opening every drawer, every cabinet, the dishwasher, and he's trying to find something. Drawers were pulled out, and we're inside the dining room, and he hears the conversation that we're having. So as he's opened the refrigerator doors, he now wants to get involved in the conversation that we're going on in the dining room. Well, the gal of the kitchen, she just happened to walk in, and it looked like she was shocked. Every door and cabinet in that kitchen was open. It was like something exploded. And, she stood there in horror, and the first thing she said is, "What are you looking for?" And, the guy looked at her like, well, somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Hinges, gentlemen. You open and you close things. Nothing complicated. When you open a door, don't slam it, shut it. It's a hinge. What a fascinating idea to somebody to come up with. But some of these young guys, there's a verse in the Bible where angels actually moved rocks so Jesus, his foot, would never dash a stone. There's a Bible verse on that. Well, there's not an angel that closes your doors. Understand that. Some guys are single and they don't have to close the bathroom door. So they leave it wide open and take care of their business with the door wide open. Hinge. What a fascinating little subject. Learn to use it, gentlemen. Close the doors behind you. Have to understand. Some people actually have animals. And if you let that dog out the front yard, you're in a heap of trouble. Not a Bible breakthrough, just common sense. A man should know his car. I know my car. I can tell when something's running wrong. And gentlemen, if you're staying at somebody's house and your car's leaking oil, tranny fluid, don't park in the driveway. Have you lost your mind? I mean, does it take a Spirit of God to tell you your car is leaking oil? Maybe that's good in a trailer park, but somebody gave you a room to stay, and you're going to pull your car, leaking oil, spitting stuff out. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. It doesn't matter if you carry all your stuff. A man should know that his car's leaking. And if your car's leaking, don't do that to your host. This isn't a Bible breakthrough, gentlemen. It's just Christian courtesy. There are Christians who consider you inviting them as the will of God. Well, this brother said he's from Denver, that I'm invited to come to his house. I guess the Lord wants me to go to Denver. That's not the reason why I travel. In fact, accommodations is way down on the totem pole. I go into a city for a particular reason. You have people that believe it's the will of God because somebody said, I should go to Wisconsin. That's not the concept. In our textbook, gentlemen, those men of God showed up in town because they knew they were going to convey a message, and they knew what that message was. Staying at somebody's house is not the will of God. I don't care if I sleep in the street. I'm going to convey a message where I have to go. I've got a lot of people that invited me to their state. I don't consider that the will of God. When it's time to go, I go. You do have Christians that I believe are like the Occupy protesters. Once they take their hat off, buddy, you got a roommate for life. They're going to hang around and hang around you for life. You need to understand, when I show up in the city, we can be a burden to our hosts. Brother, we're going to be there on Thursday, and we're going to leave on Monday. I give them a time frame, and I stick to that. There are people who've called me, Brother Ruben, I'd like to come to Los Angeles. Great. When are you going to be coming? When the Lord leads me. When are you going to be leaving? When the Lord leads me. Well, I'll tell you when the Lord leads me. Call me back later. You know, it's amazing. In some churches, this is normal. Again, Jonah was sent to Nineveh, and he knew his message and what he needed to do, and you take care of business. I don't come to sightsee. I've been to all the big cities in this country. I don't sightsee. I can't tell you what the nice museums and the fancy buildings are all about. I get there, I take care of business, and I fly home. That's when I sleep. That's when I'll take care of business. Not a Bible breakthrough. If you come to my house, we don't give you a breakfast. You're a big boy. There's coffee, there's toast, there's oatmeal, there's cereal, and there's fruit. Help yourself. And the only reason we've done this is because you have people, oh, brother, I have breakfast at 11 o'clock. No, brother, I don't have scrambled eggs. My eggs are sunny side up. No, brother, we don't have that. We don't care too much for this. It got to the point where I told my wife, lay it out, and on their schedule, they'll eat. If they're not hungry, that's fine. You'll be surprised. I received an email a number of years ago from a young man coming to my city, wants to stay with me. You come to LA, almost any open-air preacher wants to stay over at my house, and they take pictures. Is this your office? Is this where your computer is? It's like a museum or something. So this guy sent me an email that he's coming and he's going to stay with Brother Ruben. And what he did is he gave me a menu. This is what I eat for breakfast. This is what I have for dinner. And I like this particular fruit. And for snacks and chips, I like this type of stuff. This is what it's like to be Uncle Ruben. You think you've got problems. So, what do? Well, I sent the guy an email with the map of my entire city and all the restaurants he can go to. Again, because my wife is who she is, she doesn't make dinner. Because she knows when we go out preaching, we're not going to be home at 5 o'clock. You can kiss that life goodbye. My wife understands I might not be pulling in until 1 o'clock in the morning. So she's not going to make a nice dinner at 5 o'clock knowing she's going to get stood up. Because when we're out on the street, if I'm involved in a conversation and somebody's going to repent, you think I'm going to walk away for dinner? You've got another thing coming. So my wife over the years have been trained to do this. She doesn't make a big thing because she realized you guys may not be home. She might go to a Subway and buy some sandwiches and put them in the refrigerator, and whatever time you come in, it's there. But you have to understand, she does this out of, over the years, this is what I have coming in and out of our home. Brother, we don't like this. Can you give us that? Brother, I can't sleep with a sleeping bag. Brother, do you got 2 pillows instead of the 1? Brother, can I have the... You have to accommodate. But unfortunately, not everybody is like us. And because this open air thing is really gaining feet, I'm trying to bring this up. I don't know how many of you put up with missionaries. Maybe just once a year or twice a year somebody comes, and if that's the case, boy, you're really going to give them the red carpet. But if you put up with the guys that we come in constantly over and over, what I'm saying makes sense. I had a young man that came over and he just wanted to play on the computer all day. That's all he wanted to do. Hey, you can't do that. You can't come to Los Angeles and travel this way and just play on the computer. You can do that at home. He was offended. Brother, I'm just worshiping the Lord. And you can do that in Kentucky. There's no reason to come to Los Angeles to do that. God doesn't hear you better in L.A. than Kentucky. You see at night. You didn't house us because we're going to watch a YouTube together. I mean, we came in there for business. And I'm like a businessman. My function is to have you sign that contract. I'm going to stay in that conference room and we're going to hammer it down, and I'm flying back once that contract is signed. Don't whine me, don't dine me, don't bring me whores. I want to hammer it down in that conference room as a businessman. When I fly into a city, I know exactly what's going to happen. I take advantage of it and I fly back, hopefully with my fingers and toes, and there I can sleep when I get home. Then I can have my nice mattress when I get home. I don't care if you give me the doghouse outside. You will not hear me complain. I'll sleep with your dog and go to bed. Get up in the morning and do what I'm supposed to do. I'm there as a guest. And you need to understand, when you are in somebody's house, you're a guest. Hinges. Close the doors. Be nice to the animals. Understand, if there's a crying baby, that shouldn't bother you. Everything in my life when I travel changes. Okay? You can't say, brother, I'm in a devotion and I need to pray to God. You can do it, like I said, at 3 o'clock in the morning. We had a brother, he passed away. His name was Willie. Brother Willie from Seattle used to sell vitamins. Very healthy guy. I mean, this guy ate only healthy foods. Well, that's going to change when you street preach and you travel. Brother Willie ate his first fast food cheeseburger with us. He didn't like it. He didn't care too much for it. But you know what? We don't have a whole lot of places to go to preach. You either eat or you don't eat. He ate his first potato chip with us. He's not used to that. That's not persecution. If that's all you eat it. And let me tell you, we stopped at a gas station, this gas-guzzled gas station, and hey, that's all that we have. We don't have any place to go eat. That's the only place we're going to grab something. He had his first chip. So if you're used to a schedule, you can forget that schedule. I love to get up in the morning, talk to my wife, grab my dog, and take my dog for a walk in the morning. I enjoy that. I don't get a chance to do that when I'm preaching. I'm at home after I come home from work, before I go to sleep, my dog and I get on that leash and we go for a walk. I can't do that. My life has changed. I don't demand things when I'm staying at somebody's house. And when you're staying at somebody's house, your life must change to their life. Which means clean up your room. Which means you don't live like a slob. I would like to say, gentlemen, live as though this is your house, but I don't know how most of you live, so I can't make that statement. I simply say, if you came to my house and your room's a disaster, I've told young street preachers, I've stuck my head like a father would his child. If this room isn't clean, you're not going preaching with us. If you don't clean up this room, you're not coming preaching with us. I mean, we're going to tell people about eternal security and the guy can't even clean up his bedroom? We're going to tell somebody how to get saved and live holy when you got socks all over the place? It looks like an explosion. That room should be cleaned. And if there's a job that you do, it doesn't matter if you do computers. Sister, can I do a family blog for you? Can I make a website? At least give them the opportunity to say no. But you need to understand, when we stay at somebody's house, we can be a burden. There's homes that I stay at where the husband and wife will bring in all the kids to sleep with them so that we can sleep in their kids' rooms. They rearrange their life for you. Right. And so for you to come in there and say, you know, sister, I don't eat this stuff. Take it back. You're lucky one day I don't smack you across the face. You take what's given to you, whether you like it or not. Your diet will change. You'll go back to your routine when you go back home. You will always have issues with brethren when you're preaching. You need to understand that, guys. You're going to sleep together, fellowship together. There's always going to be issues. And it's not just open-air preachers. You can get politicians together and doctors together. You're always going to have this issue. One time we're driving, and what's unique about this is, you got guys coming from different parts of the country, and always people have accents. You got brothers from South Carolina that have accents. People from Boston that have accents. Texans that have accents. And so you're inside of a 15-passenger van, and you're driving, and you're hearing everybody talking about certain things. Well, I heard these brothers from South Carolina. They were talking about this little animal called a chigger. Is that what they're called, little chiggers?
Chigger, yeah.
Well, with their accent, that's not what I heard. I heard niggers. That's what I heard. These, they get inside of you and they start biting your skin. I'm driving, what the world is going on back there? What are these guys, who started that conversation? And the other guys, well, you want to get rid of these chiggers? That's not what I heard. You got to put some fire on them. You got to do this, because they'll bite you. They'll suck you dry. I'm thinking, holy Bible, I almost flipped the van over. Have you guys lost your mind? Well, the guy that's sitting next to me in the passenger seat, he's oblivious to the conversation. He just wants to pick my brain. And Brother Ruben, what about this? And Brother Ruben, would you shut up for a second? What's going on back there? I pull the van over, and they look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm looking at them, what are you guys doing? It took us about, 2 minutes to figure out what was going on, but you don't know what's happening there. A Bible college doesn't teach you for this stuff. But when you work with the men, things like this happen all the time, which is why I'm wired the way I was. I never used to do this. But when you work with a bunch of guys, get used to this type of stuff. If you're easily offended, you may not be a street preacher, because especially when you work with guys, you're going to be offended. One time, after a preach, we decided to get some pizza. The place that we were staying is about 80 miles away, and so after we left the city, the discussion was, hey, what do you want to eat? Well, you guys that are married know that a discussion like that can last maybe a half an hour. I don't know, honey, what do you want to eat? How about this? No, we had that the other day. How about this? No, I don't care too much for that. That can go on for quite some time. Well, add to the scenario 7 guys. It's a good thing the place that we were staying was 80 miles, because we had 80 miles to debate this, where we're going to eat. And so we landed at a pizza place. That's where we stood, at a pizza place. And we all walked into the pizza place with our t-shirts on, and hey, we're bold for Jesus. And they gave us a booth all the way in the corner of the pizza place, and we all got together and we ate, we drank, we fellowshiped, we talked, we laughed. We had a good time, like we always do. Well, 45 minutes into our dinner, there was one slice of pizza on the table. And what started the uproar was one of the brothers said, well, if nobody's going to take that last piece, I'll go ahead and take it. To which another brother said, well, brother, you never pay for anything. I don't think you should deserve that pizza. To which another brother says, I only had 3 pieces, everybody had 4. To which another brother said, well, you're nothing but a Pharisee. How dare you count how many things that I had? You're a legalist. And all of a sudden, the thing kind of turned into an uproar. Now, to the entire restaurant, we look like we're talking about a proverb. It looks like we're just negotiating a Bible verse. But when they got into our table, well, that's my pizza, and you can't do that. I never trusted you. Brother, you've never paid for anything. It's not your slice. Well, With normal people, you just buy another pie. Right. End of conversation. But there's a principle here, and we're not budging. You guys know, you guys who traveled, hey, it's time to debate. Right. We're going to get into this stuff. I don't care if that slice is cold at this point. It can have icicles. It's my pizza. So, what does Uncle Ruben say? All right, fellas, we live in America. We're going to vote. We're going to take a napkin, and we're going to vote whose slice of pizza that is. We narrowed it down to 4 guys. And like any election, there's speeches. So the brothers had to come up with a speech as to why that slice of pizza is theirs. This is my life. I'm telling you. Like I said, I can write a book just on this. And so it's interesting because, hey, these are street preachers and they can talk about anything in a New York second.
That's right.
So they came up with a speech. Oh, how this slice of pizza represents America. Oh, the other brother, oh, this is the church. Oh. Another brother says, you vote for me, I'll slice it up and give you a piece of the pie. So we had to vote. We got the napkin, we got some pens, we passed it around, and we voted. That's how we handle it. If you think working with men is going to be easy, brother, forget it. It wasn't with Jesus. It wasn't with our Lord. What makes you think it's going to happen to you? You need to understand it's not that way. JK?
Brother, how did that pizza taste anyway at the end of it?
I can't remember whose it was or who.
Maybe you
No. I was the rep. I came up with it. I was enjoying it. I enjoy this stuff. And I'll tell you why I enjoy a debate. Because I'm a little bit like Gideon. I'm watching you and studying how you handle yourself, because if you get up from that table and walk away from that man, I don't want you in my battlefield. I want you to actually be able to learn how to fight and still love that brother. And so I'm looking at you and I'm watching you, how you're handling yourself. And that's my world. I can't take this guy out if he's going to walk away and say, you're going to hell because of a slice of pizza. How am I to trust him when something really comes down on us?
It got cold and they left it there at the table and they all left, right?
No, it was eaten. It was eaten. Are you kidding me?
After all that.
This is what it's like. And you need to understand, when you're staying with somebody, since we're actually gaining a lot of momentum, make sure that room is clean. How about maybe sending the wife some flowers? How about saying thank you? Brother Jed always has a card of thank you that he leaves. That's Brother Jed. And usually a gift in that card. That's Brother Jed. He understands this. This is not a Bible breakthrough. I'm not giving you some incredible revelation. This is just common sense, gentlemen. Learn to handle it. Hinge. Open, close. Remember that hinge. Our next speaker is going to be the debate. So we're going to have about 10-15 minutes for them to set the stage. And Grant, you and Brother Jed, I'll meet outside. And everybody may want to grab a drink and move in, and we'll go ahead and take care of this.